Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. Last night there was a ton of green, but unfortunately no 6 for 6 and no 5 for 5. This was our closest slip here. Tobias Harris did not play, so this reverted down to a 5 flex. If Wiggins just hit one more 3 or just did a little bit more to get that last 3 PRA, this would have been a nice 10x. Instead, we got the 2x, which is still fine. Siakam and Naismith both went under together and ended up getting all the points. Kamara barely got any minutes and ended up going under very easily. Tobias Harris, we don't know what would have happened there, but 4 and 1 on that slip. This slip right here was not on YouTube. It was another 4 and 2 slip and another 5 and 1 slip here. Again, this one wasn't on YouTube either, but in the Discord. So you see Jalen Johnson, just one rebound. We were one rebound off a nice 25xer on here. Capella cleared the under easily, and every other prop cashed very nicely. The other pick I gave in the YouTube video was this one. I believe the Valorant game started a bit earlier than I thought. I thought the game started at 2 p.m., but it started at 12:50, so I'm pretty sure no one was even able to get these Valorant plays in, but the rest went 1 and 2. Cade Cunningham did not play. Jalen Duren should have really thrived off Cade Cunningham being out, yet he still didn't hit his 25.5 PRA. I'm pretty sure he got bumped all the way up to 28.5 once Cade was announced out, yet he still didn't hit his prop. So this was a very good prop, but just because it's good doesn't mean it will necessarily hit. And then Jared Allen did not end up going over his rebounds, but Okoro did. I had Jared Allen's over PRA instead in this other slip, and that ended up cashing. But unfortunately, this slip was just straight chalk, but the other one I gave out was a 4 and 1. So basically break even on the day, very close to a 10x and very close to 25x in the Discord. But we'll get into my 2 slips for today. I do have some interesting ones here. So you see this first one is a triple stack on the San Antonio Spurs, as well as a triple stack on the Houston Rockets. Let's take a look at the Spurs game first of all. They are up against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Luka Doncic is questionable. He might play, might not. I think he's leaning towards playing. So, of course, we want Doncic to be playing. That's going to help this game be more of a blowout. So, minus 8.5 spread. Of course, we're all expecting the Mavericks to win. Minus 370 money line. If Doncic is playing and popping off, we get an extra likeness that this game ends up being a blowout. Now, the one thing going against us is this total. It's pretty decent here at 234.5. But we're grabbing all unders. I think it's okay to grab all unders, especially on this specific combo here. I love grabbing Trey Jones on his under assist. A lot of the times he's going to be assisting Victor Wembanyama. So I'm grabbing Wemby's under 23.5 points. And then I also went with Sohan on his under 23.5 PRA. Look at Trey Jones' assist prop on the Sportsbooks. He said at 6.5 with juice towards the over. It's fine because we're getting at 7. We get that push potential. This line for Wemby here is normally higher than usual. I'm pretty sure it's normally at like 21.5, but they're kind of pricing in this higher pace matchup versus the Dallas Mavericks. So especially if we get a blowout, it's going to look very nice for us having all unders on the same team. You could see how that makes sense. They're all going to get less minutes together, and they're all just going to be playing bad in general. If you're getting blown out, it means you're probably not getting a lot of minutes. So that's kind of the script we're going for on the San Antonio Spurs game. Now, on the opposite, we're looking at the Houston Rockets, who are expected to blow out the Washington Wizards. So if we go and check the Wizard spread here, minus 9.5. Again, a pretty decent spread. But the Rockets are a relatively slow-paced team, and Kuzma is potentially out. If Kuzma is out, that's especially going to help our case because we want a quick and easy Rockets blowout. Hopefully a bit slower pace than expected. But if we go and check Van Vliet's assist, we're grabbing on the under 8.5. As you can see, there's slight juice towards this under, a minus 120. And the same thing for all the other players. If you check Jabari Smith Jr., slight juice towards his under on the under 15.5. And then last we have Jalen Green on the under 36.5 PRA. There's no juice towards any specific direction, but since we're grabbing these guys on the under and we're expecting that kind of blowout or maybe a slower paced game, it's okay to have all these guys on the under. And this is a beautiful pairing with Van Vliet on the under assists, especially if Van Vliet ends up scoring more this game rather than assisting. You're going to see less points for Jabari and less points for Jalen Green. And we have his PRA here instead of his points. I think it's a little bit more safe because Jalen Green could pop off and score like 26, 27 points. As long as he's not assisting, getting those rebounds, these guys could all easily cash on the under. Now that's 2 triple stacks there. We're going to go over to this Charlotte game here versus Orlando. And this one I'm liking even better than what we just went over because not only is this a blowout potential, but it's also a super low total. Like 203 is extremely low. And this is the highest spread of any game tonight. So minus 12.5. Yeah, that is the highest spread. So this is the most likely to be a blowout. So we're going with a couple unders, 4 unders actually specifically. But this time we're not stacking them all on the same team. We're stacking them from 2 different players. So we're going with Banchero on the under 22.5 points. And then Wendell Carter Jr. on his under 21.5 PRA. The same thing with Brandon Miller and Nick Richards on their respective underprops. If this is a blowout, if no one is scoring points this game, everyone's bricking their buckets, you can expect all 4 of these guys to go under. And that's super powerful when we're doing it in a 6 flex, because then rather than guessing 1 player or guessing 2 players, we're guessing 4 players altogether. Because since they're in the same game, these guys are more likely to go under altogether rather than supposed to take 1 Charlotte guy and then 1 guy from a different game and a different game and a different game and build a 6 flex that way. So it's super powerful to be stacking all these 4 players together. And again, if we check the juice on these players, if we go to player props here, we could see that Brandon Miller is actually set at 16.5 on the Sportsbooks. We're getting him at 17.5. Nick Richards is also set at 8.5 on the sportsbooks, so we're getting him at 9.5. So full point extra on Brandon Miller and Nick Richards. Then Banchero here, we're getting him at 22.5 on the sportsbooks. He is set at 21.5. So we're getting a full point of value on each of these players. For Wendell Carter Jr., he's the only one we actually lost value on, because if we check on the sportsbooks, he's set at 21.5 with juice towards the over. This would mean that the over is more likely than the under. So why am I going with the under? Because I just placed this earlier in the day, and at the time that I placed it, there was probably juice towards his under. Things are always going to change based on lineups, based on more analysis, and based on money coming in on the lines. It could be that at this point, his over PRA is actually more likely. But it's okay, I'm still going to go with the under because of the correlation between what I'm going for in this specific game script. Now the last one here, very simple. We all know Michael Porter Jr. loves shooting his 3-pointers, and he's going to be getting a lot of points off of assists. So we went to Jamal Murray on his under 7 assists. Let's check out this game state here. Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Low total, which you love to see. Minnesota is very good at defending, so if we could keep the pace down on this game, we're going to expect less assists and less points. So let's check the assist prop on Jamal Murray here. He's set at 6.5 with pretty decent juice towards that over. But again, like we just went over with Trey Jones, similar case here. We're getting at 7, so I don't mind that push potential at that 7.0. Now for the PRA on Michael Porter Jr., he doesn't have juice towards the over or under, but like I said, a lot of his points are going to be coming from that 3-ball, and a lot of those 3 balls are going to be assisted. We could even double check that just to show you here. If I go and type in Porter Jr. here, you see 96% of his 3-point field goals are going to be assisted. Of course, that makes sense. He does a catch and shoot here. And about half of his points are actually from 3-pointers. So you're going to see a lot of assisted points for Michael Porter Jr. And his 2-pointers are also assisted quite often here at 75% of the time. So about like 85% of the time when Michael Porter Jr. is scoring a point, it's going to be assisted. Could be from Jokic, could be from Jamal Murray, but we're going with Jamal Murray on the under 7 today. So that is the full 2 slips we've been getting really, really close lately. Let's cash this 25x.